Well, hello, Young and the Restless Daily Recap fans. Today's daily recap, actually, it's the weekly recap from Monday, December the 18th through Friday, December the 22nd. So that's Monday through Friday. That's what this recap is going to be all about. So let's get started. Let's see what happened in Genoa City Land. Let's start with, let me get my trusty dusty pictures for the day because I did a whole collage kind of like for each day. Uh, let's start with Billy. Billy talks to Jack, and he talks to Jack honestly, and he lets Jack know why he has to leave. That it's just he's too close to the fire. It's the big rush. And Jack's like, yeah, but it's the same over there at Chancellor Winters. We're all fighting Tucker. He said, it's different, Jack, because I also am he didn't say fighting you. He says, "Uh, there's always this tug of war that I feel I have to best you or prove myself worthy. And he says, my mother does, I don't have to do that with my mother. And besides, and he told him, she's over there all alone. You have Ashley, you have Diane, you have Kyle, and my mother at Chancellor Winters is herself. And he goes, well, there's Devon. And he goes, no, Devon and Lily are both in the same family. They're together now, like closer than ever. Um, my mom needs someone there to watch her interests, especially since she doesn't live here. Jill, come on now. Jill is in and out of there. Jill is not there a lot, right? Because right now, look, Jill's gone. She made all these offers and I need you, and Jill's gone again, period. So she talked about what an inopportune time it was for Lily. She understands what Lily needs to be with her daughter, but it's at such an inopportune time. And I'm like, well, Jill, you need to stick around then. You know how to be the CEO. Mm-mm, that ain't happening. So Jack finally understands that Billy, it's just too close. It's too much of it. He needs to go. So in the end, um, he told Billy he loved him because Billy said, you know what, Jack, I kind of like this guy. Talking about this version of him. He says, I'm self-aware enough to know when I'm too close to a trigger. He says, in the past, I would have ignored it. He said, but I can't. I got my kids who look up to me. I have a wonderful woman who I adore. And he's like, I can't lose it. And Jack understood. Of course he understood. So now we have Michael. Michael returns from Oregon and saying, yes, he got Claire released. She pled guilty. So she's released. He says, I got her transferred to the Genoa City Psychiatric Facility so she could be closer. And Nikki's like, so soon? And Victor's like, what? But see, they know the results of well, Cole got the test as Michael was talking, the results of the DNA test. And the results of the DNA test showed Claire is their daughter. So now we have another adult Newman joining the cast, which is so interesting because we have enough kids, Newmans, adults, that aren't there. If they wanted another storyline, they could have brought Reed back, Victoria's older son, that should be, goodness, it's Lily and well, Lily is postgraduate, I think now, but she's going to be a doctor. It's Charlie that's into film and directing, but Charlie, I mean Reed went to college the same time they did. He should be done. They could have brought Reed back and had a storyline with him. But no, we decided it had to be this. Well, okay, y'all. Goodness gracious. So that's his daughter, and Victor. Now all I can do is sit back, like, oh no. And Nikki's like, see, but you all know how those Newmans are. She got Newman blood. And as a matter of fact, she was their first grandchild until she died. And they just rewrote history. She didn't die, she was snatched, right? So Victoria's like, she needs help, and we're gonna make sure she gets all the care she can. And so Victor, it was either Victor or Nikki said, but look, are you sure it was a good idea to bring her here before Jordan is captured? It was Victor. And so Victoria says, well, isn't your security beefed up? Isn't your security on board with protecting this place? Oh, yes, of course. And I'm thinking, well, that's a no, hard pass. That security couldn't catch Cameron Kirsten. It can't catch anybody, right? So then we also had, see, I don't quite get Tucker. Tucker is in love with Ashley while there's a chance of Ashley. If anytime he feels there's no chance with Ashley, he's after Audra. You know, he want to make sure. He keeps calling Kyle her boyfriend and this, that, and the other. But then in the next breath, he downs Kyle and tells Audra that Kyle can't do what he can for her. And he's this, he's that. And oh, he just this time made a hard pitch to her on how they would be so good together and this, that, and the other. And it kind of made her do a double take, like, wait, what? And he was saying, no, you know, he wants her to be on top and run Jabot and this, that, and the other. And she goes, well, Kyle feels you're going to double cross us both. And he's like, never you. He never said he wouldn't double cross Kyle, but he told her, not you, Audra. You mean too much to me. We have been together for too long. You know, you will have a place. You know, and my whole thing is with this whole Glissant purchase that he wants, um, make Audra in charge of that. Yeah, it's a little up and coming. What's wrong with building something from the ground up? What's with this got to be a hostile takeover? Audra could show her chops, show her abilities, but see, she's not a chemist. They don't have a chemist. They don't have the whole dynamics of what it takes to be A1 top cosmetic competitor, although this company Glissant's supposed to be doing well. So obviously they have some kind of chemist, right? So anyway, that was Monday. Now Tuesday, Claire arrives in Genoa City, and Victoria and Cole. They meet her and they talk to her and they tell her she is their daughter. And of course, they're having Claire all withdrawn. Somebody, I bet you guys are here because you want the DNA test. Of course, that's the reason. And they're like, we already know you're our daughter. And she's like, how? Cole said, I went back to the lake house and got the DNA from some of your stuff, you know? So they take her in the room and, you know, she sits on the bed and, oh, okay, just down. Oh. And so Victoria tells her, I'm going to come back and I'm going to bring you some clothes. Okay, I'll be back later. So they leave. And now, meanwhile, Nikki is just, soon as they pretty much cleared the house, chug-a-lugging, just chug-a-lugging through that flask. And so she finishes and she's screwing the top back on and she looks at the window and there's Jordan outside the window going, chug-a-lug. Like, hell, you chug-a-lugging. And Nikki, oh, and drops a flash. Victor, Victor, Victor. And he goes, my baby, what's the matter, my baby? Now the flask is on the floor and he's by the entryway. And she goes, I thought I saw something. Now she knows she saw Jordan. I don't understand how they're writing that. because she should have said, I saw Jordan outside of that window. She's got access to the ranch, Victor. Because when she goes, I thought I saw something. He goes, well, what? I don't know. You want me? He goes, you want me to call security, my baby? No, no. And I thought, oh, like, what? What do you mean, no? And she sees the flask on the ground. So as Victor is getting ready to walk towards her, she kicks it up under the little coffee table that they have there. And then they talk and blah, blah, blah. And I said, see, Nikki, you so busy drinking, you can't even think straight. The woman was already on the ranch. That's the first thing she should have told Victor. See, Victor, you promised me you would keep me safe, yet she's on the ranch now. Security possibly, the bumblers, could have possibly caught her, maybe, right? So Jack, Diane and Kyle walk in as Billy and Jack are finishing their conversation, and they could see the look on Billy, because Billy was teary-eyed saying goodbye to his brother, and his brother was teary-eyed saying goodbye to him. And they walked in, and they kind of like, is everything okay in here? And Billy says, I'll let Jack fill you in. And he leaves. So Jack tells them that Billy is leaving. He's going to Chancellor. And Diane's like, right now? While we need him? Of course he would. Of course Billy would. Until Jack says, no, no, he has good reason. And the reason is because of me. But he took that the whole wrong way, right? And Diane's like, no, that's just Billy. He cuts and he can never stay in. They're bad mouthing Billy, her and Kyle, right? And I'm like, and so Jack goes, no, no, it's not like that. He says, I Billy is doing what's right for him, and I agree with him. Okay. And so Diane says, oh, well then look, this means and so Jack goes, you know what, Kyle? Can I have a word with your mother alone? And Kyle looks like, wait, we just now having the big boy conversation. So what you mean? Can I go to the little kid table? you know? So Kyle's like, yeah. And he takes his jacket and he goes upstairs. And Diane says, well, Jack, good. Now we can make Kyle the CEO. And so Jack said, that is not decided, Diane. And she goes, what do you mean, Jack? Why not? Why isn't it decided? Your son can take his rightful position back. And so Jack told her, because I don't know that he's ready to take the position back. I don't know that it should go to him. Not yet. No. And Diane was like, huh? She had that look on Jack's face. I mean, on his face. So she goes, you know what, Jack? Before you make any decisions, talk to Kyle. Talk to your son. He's got something he needs to tell you. Talk to him. So Jack's like, okay, fine. And so he's like, Kyle, can you come down here? And Kyle comes down, and Diane says, talk to your father. And she goes to that backside room. And Kyle sits down and he tells Jack everything about Tucker. Tucker recruited him. He's doing double agent. And Jack's like, wait, what? You what? Huh? But yet it's funny. Kyle didn't say it was my mother's idea. He didn't. He should have dimed on, well, not dimed on her, but said, yeah, mom and I felt it was best. And we wanted to leave you in the dark because we wanted to make sure this plan could get really good teeth. And we didn't want you worrying, right? And ultimately he did say, because I needed to get some inroads. And you would have worried, you may not have wanted me to do it. And then he told him, and I got it. I know Tucker's plan, and this is blah, 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 and, XYZ. And so Jack listened to the whole thing, and he was like, wow. Okay, you did find, and Tucker has no clue? He goes, no. Tucker's busy thinking I am the disgruntled son that's always being looked over. that's being looked over by Billy. He goes, but now that Billy's gone, I could take my place back as CEO, co-CEO. And Jack says, no, 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 it's too soon. We got to finish this first, Kyle. Because if I promote you, then Tucker's not going to buy the fact that you're disgruntled. We need to rid our family from Tucker McCall, and then I'll return you as co-CEO. So Kyle says, you know what? Okay, that does make sense. But as soon as it's done, I'm co-CEO, right? And Jack said, yes, son, I couldn't be prouder. And what you've done for this family, because he says Tucker wants me to get him information on something we've shelved, but we've already done the research. He wants the formula on the product. He's gonna run to market with it so that we can't. So Kyle says, give me something that we don't plan on going to market because it's not going to be one of our featured products, right? And so Jack is like, okay, that'll work. That will work. Said, and then Tucker trying to get this thing developed. And we could even leave out a key ingredient. Ashley could help with that. And he would end up with nothing. And it would crush him. So Jack gave him his blessing, and that's where that went. And now we have Tucker, who met with Phyllis, ran into Phyllis, and tried to recruit her to come work for him. And Phyllis is like, I wouldn't work for you if you were the last person on earth. So he took a napkin and he wrote a salary figure down and he gave it to her. She goes, the last person on. She looked at it, put it down. She looks at it again. She says, how many years is this salary for? He said, 1. She says, really, 1 year, this much money. He says, Phyllis, I need somebody over my entire tech team for this entire company. And there's nobody better at what you do than you. I don't need somebody to report to somebody who reports to somebody who is in a tech department. He was poking a jab at her job at Chancellor Winters, right? He goes, you are the one person who is right to lead my new company into the direction it needs to go. And so she said, no. But you could see the no wasn't a no. And he goes, okay, Phyllis, you know where to find me. And Phyllis is just thinking, oh my goodness, wait, what? Right, oh my goodness, what? So let's see, Wednesday. Let's get to Wednesday. Wednesday. Yeah. Handsome Billy shows up to work for his first day at Chancellor Winters. Now, Nate and Mamie got to the office early, and she act like she worked there for day to day, and she doesn't. See, realistically, Mamie has no reason to even be there. She's just a shareholder, right? And she's sitting down and they're talking, and she goes, it's good to have you back. He goes, yeah, but it's thanks to you and blah, blah, whatever. And so she goes, yeah, and it's our goal to make sure we get Jill Abbott out of our company. And Billy steps through the front door, the office door, and says, and I'm here to make sure that doesn't happen. And they both look at Billy, and Mamie is like, I don't, you know what? I don't know. I don't get the way they're not, and they're not making her act that way. The way she's choosing to portray her scenes, I don't get it because it just to me, it's not effective. No, Mamie or actress playing Mamie. That's that's not believable. It's just not believable. When you're reacting, you busted saying something, you're like, oh, shoot. But you still keep your composure, like, yeah, I said it, but I meant it. Mm, right? So Billy says, I'm here. And so she goes, oh, so Jill really made that final. He goes, absolutely. I am now the co-CEO of Chancellor. And he looked at Nate and he reminded Nate, so that means I'm your boss, Nate. I'm just surprised they approved bringing you back. So you know that means I'm going to keep my eyes on you because you tried to sell us out before. And Nate says that's the past and that's not, Lily and Devon have forgiven me for that and we're moving past it. And so Mamie said something to the effect of, so you don't need to keep your eyes on him. And so he goes, oh, and just to let you know, Mamie, because of your association with Tucker McCall, I'm keeping my eyes on you too. And she looked, right? She's sitting on his couch, the couch in the office, like she. And so he sits down and he goes, I have a meeting that I'm getting ready to go to. And he gets up because he was getting ready to go meet Chance to interview, kind of welcome Chance aboard. Although I'm surprised he didn't have Chance meet him there at the office. And he says, so you both can feel free to use my office until I get back. And they both looked like, in other words, when I get back, you guys are out of here. Period. Because they maybe for one don't have an office. She don't belong there on the day to day. And Nate needs to get to work. So one thing he did say, they're like, and what position are you holding? He goes, well, for right now, I'm CEO and I'll be co-CEO when Lily comes back. So there we have it. Remember, he and Lily, I thought maybe he was COO, but I think Jill's going to make him co-CEO with Lily, which she should. And you know what? Don't make it so that Lily is over him. Give him equal responsibility and weight. That's what Jill should do. Because before Billy worked for Lily, this time around they both should be, have equal same power, and that would make Billy feel, much better and more comfortable with himself. So now we have Chance and Summer at Society laughing, talking about the concert. Oh, they had so much fun. My goodness, they're just so comfortable with each other. And they even had flashback scenes of them dancing and having fun. And she got him to dance and taught him some moves and the whole 9 yards. And Phyllis walks in. Hey guys. And so Summer looks up and they're laughing, you know. And she goes, what's so exciting? And said, oh, we went to a concert, had a great time. And Chance goes, your daughter taught me some dance moves. She even got me up, even though it was a stand-up concert, so they weren't sitting down. But anyway, Chance says, but look, I have a meeting to get to. Summer, thanks again for last night, yada yada. So she goes, oh, you both had a date to a concert? Chance goes, no, Sharon couldn't make it. Chance said, I had an extra ticket. Sharon couldn't make it. And Summer graciously accompanied me. Yeah, let her know, no, the ticket was for my girlfriend, right? So Phyllis and Summer sit down and Phyllis goes right back into, ooh, taught him some moves. And she goes, Mom, stop it. So anyway, she's back to, oh, you should go for it. Cause she getting ready to go for Danny. So you might as well go for Chance and let's do it. And rah, rah, rah. So while they're talking, Summer's like, oh my goodness, you know what? It's getting late. No, Phyllis tells Summer that Tucker made her a job offer. And Summer is like, you turned him down, right? Well, I'm not accepting the job, Summer, but it's just so exciting. I won't have, I mean, look, if I did take it, I would be running the whole IT division. I would this, that, and the other, and the pay is just phenomenal. And unlike, you know, answering to somebody that barely knows what they're doing to report to somebody else who reports to Daniel. And so Summer said, do you realize how ungrateful you're sounding right now, Mom? Daniel went out on a limb to hire you after what you've done. And the way you're describing his company or working for his company, that is like so disrespectful. She goes, no, I'm just saying, Summer, it's no comparison. And she goes, and you know what? The way you're talking, it seems like you're planning on accepting Tucker McCall's offer. No, Summer, I'm not going to accept the job. She goes, Mom, I'm telling you right now, if you accept that job with a man you don't trust and he doesn't trust you, he screwed you over before. Yeah, but see, we both know what each other is capable of. Summer is like, oh my goodness, if you can't see this will end badly. Because in my mind, if you think he's really gonna pay you, Phyllis, and you get two paychecks, maybe, right? And then he's gonna use whatever he has you do over your head. Because it will be something illegal. So Summer says, I just can't believe you, Mom. And so Tucker walks in and Summer jumps up. Leave my mother alone. And Tucker's like, I just walked in the door. She goes, you offered her a job, you can't be trusted, you this, that, and the other. She does not even want that job from you. So, right, Mom? And Phyllis is like, she didn't say right. She was just like, and Summer looked at Phyllis and was like, oh my goodness. And she just leaves. She's like, oh my goodness. And Tucker sits down and Phyllis goes, yeah, sorry about Summer. Summer's high spirited. He goes, sure. Summer doesn't bother me, right? And he just kind of glosses over it. But before he got there, and then he asked Phyllis, is she going to take the job? Phyllis still didn't say yes, but she's going to, come on. Phyllis, her body language, her eyes, her face, all was saying yes. And Tucker knows it. He could read her. But before he got there, he got the gift of some of the gifts he got, Dominic, little tambourine and musical things. And then he bought him a t-shirt, something about grandpa's favorite. This shirt is big enough for a 10-year-old. And he laid it across the couch. I said, what makes him think that toddler could fit that shirt? That made zero sense, right? So he comes downstairs, and Devon and Abby have been talking. And Abby, Devon and Abby have been talking, and Ashley was talking to them. And she was just saying how, for Christmas, she would prefer it if she didn't have to run into Tucker, like if she had a different time slot. Uh, and they're like, well, that could be arranged because we plan on him not having any time, you know? And then she just looked because she goes, because I really don't want to bring up, the negative feelings I have for him. And I don't want Dom to have to be around. And they're like, okay, no, it ain't a word. And so Devon had to go take a phone call. And then Tucker had come down the stairs. And Tucker said, Devon, I have a, a Santa bag full of toys and gifts for Dominic. Can I come over New Year tonight to bring them? Because tonight is supposed to be Christmas Eve. Can I come over tonight to bring them? And Devon says, absolutely not. No, I don't want your influence around myself. Come on, Devon, it's Christmas. I mean, they're toys, they're gifts for my grandson. Please, if you would give me another chance, a second chance. And he goes, a second chance. And he goes, second chance? Oh, I've given you way more than second. He goes, a dozen chance. He goes, look, I just want to drop off gifts for my grandson. It is the holidays, it is Christmas, and surely you won't begrudge me that. You won't deny Dominic the opportunity to get gifts from me. So Devon looked at him, he goes, okay, you know what? Tomorrow you can come. Because he goes, look, if I'll even just drop them off at your porch since you feel this way and leave. Devon says, you can come by tomorrow and you could drop off the gifts. You can. But you're not going to be invited to stay. You're not going to be a part of the family festivities. But sure, bring your gifts by, Tucker. So Devon comes back to the table and he sits down and he tells Abby says something negative about Tucker, but then Devon says, yeah, but he has gifts for Dominic. He goes, I told him he cannot be a part of the family festivities, right? And Abby's like, good. And so Ashley looks and says, well, I hope it's not because of me. And I thought, shut up, Ashley. Because you were the main one saying you didn't want to run into him to make sure they arrange the times at this complete. I said, you started it, Ashley. And then you're going to sit there and say, but I mean, if it's one thing about Tucker, no matter what, he loves his grandson. And he is good with him, because she was telling Abby, you've seen how he was with at Dominic's music classes, and he could just stay on the floor and play with him for hours. He says, that was not a game, Abby. That wasn't an act. Those feelings were real for Tucker and are real. So then she's telling Devon. So Devon says, well, look, I told Tucker he could come by and he can. So we won't be putting up with Tucker the whole day. He's in and out, and so they leave it like that. And then that's when Tucker sees Phyllis at society and talks to Phyllis. Now, we have the Abbotts at the Abbott family house decorating the tree. And they have a Harrison. We haven't seen Harrison in forever. One thing I noticed about that little boy, cute as a button, but they need to recast him. Even though they don't show him that much, when he was younger, when did Harrison hit the scene? Two years ago now? He was definitely more talkative. He would say lines. The older he's gotten, the more reserved he is. And he wasn't, I caught a couple of lines that were his that he didn't say. And he just looks. And it's like robotic. And I said, no, it's not in him. See, when he was the age he was when they first brought him on the show, as parents, we get our children, especially when they're that young. Oh, he'll be so cute. Let's get him into acting. Let's get him into some modeling. And so it's our idea. As they get older, you can see if it's really their idea. If they're a natural, he's not a natural. Cute as a button, but not a natural. One line that was his line when they were over trimming the tree and Kyle and Diane were sitting down talking, he was supposed to say, come on, Dan, come and let's trim the tree or put ornaments on the tree. he didn't say that. So what Tracy did, she goes, hey, Colin, Diane, um, Harrison wants you both to come over and put some ornaments on the tree. And so I think she kind of turned Harrison, or Harrison was turned towards them, but didn't say his lines. And so she kind of nudged him a little bit, and he went over and grabbed Kyle's hand, or he went closer to them and maybe went like this. That was his line. And then there was something else he was supposed to say, and he just stood there. And I think Kyle ended up saying, well, let's just do blah. And I thought, okay, it's time to change Harrison's. Because bottom line, he's at the age to where he needs to say lines. He was saying them 2 years ago. So he was good at mimicking and remembering. And when somebody would say, okay, now it's when you say, when they cut the scene and say, you say this, he would say this. Now he's not saying that. So that's just one thing I really, really noticed. And I thought, what a shame, because he's such a cute kid. But he still has to be able to handle his lines and his parts. He's gonna have to in order to make it. Because I'm telling you, case in point, on General Hospital, Esme's baby, Ace, look, that little baby was a natural. I mean, he can say lines without even being able to speak. I love that you just see it in him, and they're twins, and one twin is more reserved than the other. One twin is happier than the other. But oh my goodness, you could see there's a spark in those twins that they're going to do really well. And they hired them at 3 months doing newborns, so age-wise, they're the right age that the baby is supposed to be. So unfortunately, at some point they will age them up, but they're doing a very good job, just as babies. So let's go to the next day. The next day we have Thursday, the 21st. And on Thursday, all about Nikki and her drinking, as she's hiding it. Victor takes her to the jazz lounge. He sits down and she goes, Victor, I need to, go to the powder room. So he goes, oh, okay, my baby. She goes to, where those stairs are, to where you go up into the lobby of the GCAC. Nikki just stands right there in the stairwell, just a little back. If Victor, and actually not even that far back, because if Victor turned around, he would have seen her. She takes the flask right out of her purse and drinks right there. Chug-a-lug, right there. That's telling you how far gone she is with falling off the wagon. And Nate comes in, and she had just screwed the top back on it, and he saw her putting it back in her purse, and he goes, Nikki, what are you doing? And she goes, Nate. It's like, none of your business what I'm doing. And she brushes past him and goes on up to the lobby, and he goes, Nikki, wait, hold on. I saw you. You were drinking from the flask that you just put in your purse, and you put a cough drop in your mouth to cover the alcohol smell from your breath. Now, I know your family went through something, traumatic. Was it an MS Caesar? Because none of you, and she's slurring as she's talking to him. It is none of your business. You don't work for the company. You stay out of our family's business and my business. And he's looking at her. Okay, she's drunk. And he says, Nikki, I'm a doctor. And that's the first time I've heard him say, I'm a doctor. And I know the signs, And so he goes, I'm just trying to help you. No, your brand of help is not needed. And like I said before, stay out of my business. So he goes down and he tells Victor. And for a minute, I thought he wasn't because Victor was so smug talking about, look, because I fired you. Now you want to talk. There's nothing I have to say. You were disloyal. And he goes, you know what? For the record, Victor, I was not disloyal. I had your best interest at heart. And he goes, and deep down, you know it. He says, I have something I need to tell you. And he goes, and regarding you, I am a doctor. He said, I am a doctor again. He says, and I gave you an excellent option for what I thought was happening to you. And Victor says, you're a doctor, then go practice medicine somewhere and get, like, get out, leave me alone, or you leave, just leave. And I'm thinking, the second time Nate just said that, I'm thinking 6 months, is he gonna be back? Come on now, he could still be a doctor. He just can't be a surgeon. But my whole thing is why they haven't thought of going to get a cutting edge robotic surgery. Come on, and put some nanobites in there. It can handle it. So anyway, he tells Victor, I have reason to believe Nikki is drinking again. And Victor just, huh? He goes, I just saw her drinking over there at the stairwell with a flask in her purse. Or I don't know if he even gave him that much detail when he said Nikki is drinking again. And Nikki was coming down the stairs and Victor's looking at the stairs. She comes down the stairs. She sees Nate talking to Victor. Nikki beelines back up the stairs. Talk about obvious. Because she knew she would, having to really get some scrutiny from Victor, she knew she's drunk, right? So she leaves. Ashley, let's go. We go to the Abbotts. Jack is ready to push the button, but he had to get the final approval. And this is the button on that article on Tucker. And she finally goes, just do it, Jack. So he pushes the button. Now that article is out on every news outlet. Kyle, in the meanwhile, is going. He found Audra at Crimson Lights, and he told Audra what was going to happen. And he goes, I tried to convince my dad not to do it. See, Kyle's lying to her about this. He says, but I did get my dad to promise before he sent it out. He redacted your name and anything so that your name doesn't appear on anything, Audra. He said, I begged him to protect your name. And so she goes, and what makes you think he'll do it? He goes, I think he'll do, you know? She goes, you should have warned us earlier. He says, I just found out. You know they don't tell me anything. I just found out what was happening, and I'm here telling you now. Well, stop it, Kyle. You can stop it. He goes, no, I think it's out as we're speaking now. Right? So, oh, she's livid. Tucker told me, can't trust you. And he blah, blah, blah. He goes, I don't know what. He goes, Audra, same applies. Look, I'm doing my part. I'm only the COO. They don't bring me in on all the decisions. I can still do what Tucker wants. Tucker wants me to get him a formula of a product. Okay, that's still, because this article is out, that doesn't change that, Audra. And so, oh, she's mad and she leaves out of Crimson Lights, right? And let's see. She leaves out of Crimson Lights and she goes to Tucker's room. And let's see. Nikki goes home to the ranch, drunk, stumbling in, and she gets a phone call from, and of course she picks it up. She gets a phone call from Jordan. And Jordan tells her, some ominous crap about, you know, how she been liking the music she's been playing. Just then, oh, you loving that vodka. It's, I mean, you probably want to drink right now, Nikki. And Nikki tells her, I'm drunk right now. I'm drunk right now. And I said, oh, you're going to tell Jordan that, but you're going to run from your family who loves you and that can help get you some help. And when Nikki turned and ran up the stairs, Nate said, Victor, is she driving? Because Nikki is in no state to be driving. And so, you know, they're trying to run after her or whatever they're trying to do. So we'll see. Nikki's gonna end up doing something stupid, really stupid. So now Friday the 22nd. Friday the 22nd, we've got all the festivities, the um, Christmas Day festivities. We've got everybody at the Romalottis. Phyllis and Summer are there at Daniel's. Heather and Lucy are there. Of course, Danny is there because he's staying there in the guest room. And they're all singing Christmas carols, just laughing all the way home. Yeah. And so the doorbell rings and everybody's singing and Phyllis hears it. So she opens the door and it's Christine. And she's just looking at Christine like this. And Christine looks at her. And Danny sees, you know, he's looking, he sees Phyllis open the door and he sees Christine and he's getting up. Hey, hey, Cricket, come on in. Hey, Cricket. So she goes, oh, I just brought you by a gift. And Danny gets between Phyllis and Christine. And I think he kisses Christine on her cheek and Phyllis steps back. But Phyllis is still looking at her like you don't belong here. The picture of Phyllis there, they're right there at the top right. She's just looking at Christine, right? So as she goes, yeah, I wanted to bring you by a gift. He goes, no, I hope I'm not intruding. No, come in, come in. No, you're not. So she comes in and she's sitting by Danny. Phyllis is across the room, sitting on the chair where Summer and Summer's sitting on the arm of the chair. And we've got and Lucy and Heather are sitting on the couch with Danny. So they're just talking. Danny is telling a story, a roadie story, and blah blah blah, and the old time one. And then Christine says, "If I can remember correctly, blah 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 happened." He goes, "Oh, that was yeah, that did happen." And but really, it was X Y Z. And Phyllis goes, "And if I can remember correctly, also," and she's saying something that happened from back in the day. And Danny goes, "Yeah, that happened too. That happened too." And Phyllis and Christine are giving each other like death glares because when Phyllis says, "Oh, and I remember," Christine is just looking across at Phyllis. And then after Christine said what she said, Phyllis is just looking, and Summer is looking at her mother, and Daniel's kind of looking at the two of them, kind of sniping at each other. And Summer's like, Mom, we have to go. It's time to go. We're meeting Dad for dinner. And Phyllis says, we've got time for that. She goes, no, Mom, no, we don't want to be late. We need to go. And so Lucy and Heather said, you know what? We need to go as well. We have to, she goes, well, Lucy, not Lucy and Heather. Heather says, I need to go as well. I have a face conference scheduled with my dad in Portugal. And they didn't show Chris's face because of Paul's the love of her life, right? So I want to make sure I'm not late for that. And so Daniel says, let me walk you to the door. And Danny says, yeah, let me walk all you to the door. So Danny gets up too. So they walk Heather out and Phyllis over. And before Phyllis gets up from the chair, she goes, aren't you going to leave too, Christine? And she looks at Phyllis and she goes, actually, no, I'm going to stay a while. And she looks at Phyllis And Phyllis just looks at her. I thought, oh my goodness. So Phyllis gets to the door and she turns around one more time and she just looks, gives a death glare to Christine, and Christine is just looking back at her. And I thought, oh, you two fighting over somebody that's actually giving both of you. Actually, he's not giving Christine mixed signals, but he's giving Phyllis mixed signals. He's allowing Phyllis to be drawn further in than need be, and that's going to come back, and that's going to bite him. That is definitely going to bite him. Let me see. We have, oh, then I think this is where Devon tells Ashley at the table that they're going to allow Tucker to drop off gifts for their son. And the article had already hit. Oh no, Ashley wasn't there. He was talking to Abby about it because Ashley was with Jack when the article hit, and Devon saw the article, but Devon already knew what happened. They already knew with the artist, but seeing it in writing, the information, Devon hadn't seen that. And he goes, I think I owe him at least the benefit of the doubt to hear his side of the story. And Abby's like, well, what difference would it make? As soon as he found out, he should have held a press conference, because I think Tucker came over to the table and thanked Devon again for allowing him the opportunity to drop off the gifts. And that's where Abby was saying, you should have held a press conference as soon as you were made aware of this and let the public know the remedies, what you had done to correct this, because you did. You fired the whole lawyer team, the whole PR team that covered it up. You did do all of that. But instead of taking the next step of making it right, you thought of self-preservation first. And that's where the problem is, what Abby says. But anyway, he said, well, Devon, thank you for the opportunity of to bring my grandchild some gifts. So he thanked him for that. Let me see, Chris. Oh, and Chris gives Danny a robe. It's a silk robe, which was interesting to me. Lauren bought it to her personally. She got it from Finmore's. And he goes, is this silk? And she goes, yes, it is silk. This robe was originally worn by, and she said the name of somebody that owned it. Must be some kind of musician, because otherwise, why? And somebody maybe Danny liked. And I thought, ooh, I'm sorry. She gave him a secondhand used gift, and I don't care. Bottom line, give me something that hasn't been worn by somebody else, silk. Or if you're giving me something, oh, this was Elvis Presley's robe, then it's not going to be in a gift bag like that. It's going to be framed, right? It's going to be behind glass or something. But this is not nothing that I'm going to put on my body that some other man was walking around on his body. No. And I thought, well, I didn't like that gift, a little tacky. But anyway, he gave her a trinket like the one that she lost on their honeymoon. I guess the airlines lost their luggage, and that little trinket bracelet was something he had given her, one of the first gifts he had ever given her, and she was heartbroken. So he gave that gift to her. So anyway, whatever. His gift out trumped her gift. Absolutely. Because her gift was secondhand. So now we have Michael and Lauren are always so cute. I am so happy he is back. I think what's his name, Christian LeBlanc. He is so, they make the sexiest couple. So he had given her of the room key. They were at society, and she goes, ooh, is this our favorite suite? And he goes, yes. And you better hurry up because I got another gift for you. He gets up from the table and walks out. She goes, oh, well, okay. And she gets up and she gets there. The room is all, a little decked out. And Michael comes up from behind her, brings her some champagne, and they're kissing and yada, yada, yada. So then he looks at her and he says is ready to give her her second gift. Or maybe they were still standing up when he gave her her second gift. I can't remember. And it was a gift box and it was another ring, beautiful ring. And he says, Lauren Finmore, would you do me the honors of marrying me all over again as we ring in the new year? Oh, and she was just, it's beautiful. And oh my goodness, I think then they start kissing. And then when they come back, they are in their robes now. And he was already in a robe, but now she's in her little silky robe. And she goes, Michael, I've got to give you my gift now. So she turns and it's another ring box. And she opened it up and she says, great minds think alike. Will you do me? Will you make me the happiest woman in the world by becoming my husband all over again as we ring it? They both thought of the same ideas of vow renewal, New Year's Eve. That's too cute. Now, I love that couple. That is too cute. So, they may or may not show it. They don't have to show it. We could just know that they did it, you know. Um, and that pretty much is it. Nothing else really happened. That sums up the whole week on The Young and the Restless. Let's go to Comment Corner. Comment Corner got a couple of comments here. Where is my Comment Corner? Right here. LaShanta says, I'm so over Tucker, it's getting old. Jack is so gullible. I can't wait till this blows up in Kyle and Diane's face. Jack's gonna regret how he treated Billy. He was right about Kyle. Audra's just nasty. Both of them they're just desserts. Kyle is too cocky. I don't like how Jack let Diane and Kyle trash Billy, and he did. I like Summer over Kyle. Go after Chance if you want. Oh, really? And then Patricia says, I love the scene when Nate and Victoria looked at each other and Cole was in the background watching them curiously. Didn't like the addition of Claire at first, but the Claire storyline brought back handsome, interesting Cole, so I'm glad. Um, you know, I do believe their little thing to set up Tucker is going to blow up in their face because Tucker came over to the house to tell Jack off, like, ooh, goodness, I'm telling you off. And then Ashley comes from the kitchen area and he looked at her and he goes, I expect this from him. Expect it. But you, on the other hand, and he just looked at her with such disdain. And he shook his head and she's just standing there like, oh, I did it, but I don't know if I really wanted to have done it. But oh, she's just standing there. And he looked as he turned and he's walking out the door because Jack is like, so now it's over. We've won. And he looked at Jack and he goes, it's not over by a long shot, Jack. And he walks out the door. And Jack is just standing there. Jack goes, yeah, no. Now Tucker, good. I've been waiting to see the truly down and dirty Tucker. Now he's gonna truly get down and dirty. So anyway, everybody, that is it. That's it for the week of December the 18th through December the 22nd on The Young and the Restless.